What?
Satan, is that you?
Satan, what? Satan, everything.
Yes, Satan.
Well,
From
hell. You see, I'm from hell. Hella fresh that is. Tell the rest that this is just exactly what you missed.
And who is you?
Senor Sabado Gigante, taste like picante sauce, and now all the mothers want man.
See, I'm from hell. Hella type for real, relevant real. Telling but still is dealt the hard
And
bell.
who you be?
The black flesh, the what's next to be your favorite tight sketch name that stays
What's up,
etched
y'all?
in
It's
your wedding
Nytelife.
grave.
See,
For
I'm
BarLoop.
from hell.
And my guest today is the man, the myth, the legend. We got the Bay Area's own Bukue One in the building.
What is good?
Nothing, man. Just trying to figure out how to keep these plates spinning like you in this COVID era, man. Won't you let me know what you got going? Because I see you doing something, man. It's you DJing, you doing shirts.
Yeah, you create new plates. Don't be so attached to your previous plates as your identity. That's what I've really learned is that, the things that I was used to doing that provided me with my core nutrients, I can't do. And so I could either be without and be on deficit or just channel that energy into some lane that I can do. And so, DJing I wasn't even thinking about doing that. It just kind of came up. I got one opportunity to do something, and then I was like, well, shit, this is kind of nice. I should probably make sure I can make it sound good. So then I went on a rabbit hole, like, how do you make it sound good? And then I went on the rabbit hole, like, how can you DJ on Instagram and Facebook and not get kicked off every 2 seconds?
Right.
And then from that, my son was in screen printing just for like last year, and he got a little set up in the garage. And so I was like, man, let me check this out. And so I called my boy who had some of my old screens from all the merch, and I started printing and started that rabbit hole there. So now 2 or 3 months later, I got a little pop-up store in Decathlon Sporting Goods in Emeryville. And we just, as you see, we just been printing, and it's just been evolving with designs and just trying out different stuff. And so, that's whatever it is, man, playing Madden online. I got really into Madden. I'm a late bloomer to Madden. Like, I didn't play Madden till like 3 years ago.
Hey, well, my son's retired me from Madden, man. I was I used to whoop their ass bad, and then I came through on the cocky, and my youngest son cleaned me up real tough, and I put that the controller down. I ain't pick it up since.
Yeah, you're like, I'm good. Yeah,
Right.
one of the things I was missing during COVID was like that nourishment I get from like competition, and I used to get it from a bowling league. I bowled 2 leagues a week. So that was where I get my competition. We bowl a little bit of side pots for money, this and that. And then my stepson, who goes to UC Davis, would come up here once a weekend or every other weekend, and we'd play Madden. And he was the only person I played. I didn't play online. It was just him. So, you got bragging rights. You only get to play maybe 2 or 3 games a week. And it's like everything meant so much. And so that was gone. And so I was like, I kind of need that vibe. And so I was like, oh, what's this online thing? I figured out the whole go online and match you up with some rando. And, I don't put the headphones on because I don't want to hear them. I know people be talking all crazy online. So I just, be online playing fools now. So it's like a daily routine.
So it be any bread on those games, or you just playing for the fun?
I play for the fun, but like I made a mistake of like messaging folks like, hey, what's up, man? Good game, man. You did. And then some folks was like, yo, you want to put something on it? I was like, huh? And they're like, yeah, I don't really play nobody unless I put money on it. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm good. Like, I barely like putting money on things people I don't know. That's not really, even in bowling. Like, if I don't know the cats, I'm rarely gonna put money on it because some cats they can't handle losing money.
Yeah, you don't want to have anybody in the O column with anything like that. No matter how small the amount, because they be on you find somebody on some funny shit, and then all of a sudden, you got a bigger problem than you really want.
Yeah, cats we want to run it back and run it back and run it back, and then the further they go in that hole, like you can't, after a certain point of beating somebody so much, you can't laugh, you can't smile.
That's the truth.
Anything you say, good or bad, like you can't be like, man, that was a good shot, like nothing to them because it's all. So I just like just. With folks I know, I'm down because the money just circulates amongst us, right? Like 1 week I'm getting my ass kicked and I'm paying for my friend's daughter's, new shoes. And, then 2 weeks later, you paying for my daughter, you know. So, but yeah, I try to keep it like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So you're multifaceted, man. Like I said, you got a lot of things going. You know, the graffiti, the clothing line, the artist management that you were doing, the DJing that you picked up. But you know, most people I think know you from being an MC. So how did you get your start with that?
Well, back, you know, just growing up listening to hip hop, it was always fun and the cool thing to do to like try to rap along with your favorite rap hip hop songs that were out, because it kind of like you got cool points if you could rap the whole verse at school,
Right.
in 6th and 7th and 8th grade, you know. But skateboarding and graffiti were my main things, and you know, I did like a song in like my senior year, and we used to kind of just freestyle, but it was never anything in particular, and it wasn't really until junior college when I linked up with a brother named George, and you know, I was just like, you know, a lyrical miracle, just writing, but not really doing anything with it. And he's like, you should rap. You should actually take it seriously. And he linked me up with, rest in peace, Mike Science and him. And so I just started. That kind of really got me into it. It really kind of honed me in and showed me how to write in bars, like how to like do that. And you know, from there, that was kind of the deal. But even after kind of doing that, I really didn't get into my own music career. I came through music industry first. I got in through. We had a little production company where we put together an event, and then we said that sucks, promotion's stressful. Let's get into management, and so I would be the guy that managed the artist, while my two other partners would handle the business. And so I started managing Tame One from the Artifacts, and then you know Ambush. Those were the first two artists that I managed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we got an opportunity to go to Australia, and so I put myself on as an opener. I had like 2.5 songs. One of the songs was about graffiti, and out there I didn't realize it, but out of the 4 elements of hip hop, graffiti and breakdancing came to Australia before the other 2. So when I had a song about graffiti, it really resonated with them, and it showed me like, man, maybe there's room for what I have to, you know, for me as an MC. And so it wasn't until Australia in '98 that I really was like, maybe there is room for me. So when I came back, I had the bug. I wanted to record more and get more shows, but everybody knew me as a manager. So it was like, so producers would be like, well, why should we give you beats? Aren't you the manager? And promoters would be like, well, why do you want to get your opening spot? Aren't you the manager? And that was that whole first, like, I was like, damn, like that was a weird feeling. Like you can't do both. Okay, well, that's weird. Well,
right.
Y'all can have the business. And I ended up going back to Australia. Was going to be there for 6 weeks. I'm just saying for 7 months. Told the guys they could have the label. And everybody out there just knew me as a rapper. So I'm the rapper from California. So all of a sudden, every producer wants to work with me. So I'm just recording. And so that's really when the jump off kicked in. That was about '99. So that was when it really, really, you know, like, oh, okay, I could do this. And so from there, I just was like, okay, well, I like doing business. We got an investor. We started bringing artists out to Australia. Mm-hmm. And when I came back, the word got out that Bukue's bringing people to Australia. So that's when the cats like Souls of Mischief and hit me up like, yo, what's up in Australia? And so I was like, you know, I'm trying to work it out. And then the first time I went out, I brought AC alone.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Ambush. Yep. AC, Ambush, and myself. And so when I came back, AC was like, man, you know, you want to go out with us? And I was like, yeah. So I was a tour manager. I would drive, tour manage, do merch in exchange for opening. So AC alone and Ab were the first people that took me out, Abstract Rude. And so I was out with them a lot. And then in 2000 came along, and Domino was like, from Higher, was managing Dell at the time, was like, yo, I need somebody to help tour manage for this nationwide tour with Black Alicious and Dell. And I said, cool. Like if I'm just going to drive and tour, do merch, I'd like to be paid X. But if I can open, you can pay me Y, which is less than X. And he was like, oh yeah, for sure. So I got my little tapes, my senior photo on them, my Australia songs. And so that was my first thing, a nationwide tour. And I got to do my little 15, 20-minute set. And through that whole tour, I kept all the contacts with fans and promoters. And that was kind of, so my whole deal was like, I'm going to tour manage and do that stuff until my rap career really took off. And then I would just transfer into my own career. Mm-hmm. But I realized that, you know, as my rap, people were getting more aware of who I was as an MC, the awareness of me as a tour manager was growing faster. And so all of a sudden I realized if I make this my primary focus, I may not be able to focus on rapping every day. I may not progress as fast, but I'm getting an opportunity to travel around the country and then eventually the world, being of service to these bigger artists who have more clout. And in return, I can eat, I can emancipate, making a living off my music, so I can really make what I wanted to make. And I get to travel and just live. You know, I never did the orphan tours. I never did the like sleep at your friend's house tour because I was always a tour manager. All the artists I managed, we got hotels, and I had a per diem, and so that was kind of my deal. And I just I realized very early, what, I'm not gonna transfer out of this. I'm gonna always have this as my forefront. So my main art became the business of the arts and the being of service to these bigger elder statesmen, so to speak.
Yeah, that's beautiful business, man. That whole layout was sharp, and how you was able to negotiate time for your sets and stuff like that. Really shows so much ingenuity. It shows that hustler mentality that you got, and that's like I said, this goes back to all the plates you got spinning. So you touched on a brother named George, and he's my mentor,
right?
And I recognize him as that. And the similar story of the whole thing about helping to write in the craft artistry, he was responsible for with me too. Because I was the guy that wanted to do. I thought I was going to be Spice One,
right? Okay.
and so he heard that, and then as he started making fun of it, and then I started hearing what he was doing, I was like, "Hey, that's the shit I want to do."
Right.
I don't want to do this. I don't do that. That's not really me, but I want to do that. So kind of getting into that. So you was rocking tours, and you guys was on tours with big name legends and stuff like that. Tell me about that experience.
Oh man. Touring. Well, first of all, I all the people that I got to work with are people that I grew up listening to and I was fans of first. I was a fan of Freestyle Fellowship, AC Alone, Project Blowed long before I knew him. And I was a fan of Dell and Souls of Mischief and all that long before I knew him. Mm-hmm. So I'd already been studying and just they were a big, huge part of my probably how I tried to rap for a long period of time, and so being able to be on the road with them, I mean, there's two main areas I think that was priceless, and the main one had nothing to do with the show. It's all that time in the car with them. It's just all that time in the car with them, just the stories, because then you're driving for 6, 7, 8 hours. I'm just driving, and they're talking and reminiscing about things and debating things and talking about different flow cadences and just hip hop stories that you just, as a fan, you don't get access to that. I mean, now more so social media, but back then you didn't get access to that. It's like being a fan of magicians and then getting invited to drive the magicians around town, and you listen to them just dropping game on their tricks and it just changes your whole sketch. So that was a huge part. And then just watching them night in and night out, how they rock shows, just how they moved, how their cadences were, how they improv, especially AC Alone and Abbott. And to me, they were some of the best showmen because they're amazing lyricists. They're great showmen, and they're like modern day jazz musicians on how they improv live.
Right.
It's just really, really I've seen a lot of different artists, and they're still some of my favorite shows to see. AC Alone and Abstract Rude rock. But so that really kind of gives you you're just kind of soaking this up. You can't be around that for a long period of time and not have it soak up some if you're paying attention. Mm-hmm. And it plays into your show. You just start seeing stuff and you start adding stuff in and really adding as inspiration, not influence. And the way I associate the difference between inspiration and influence, inspiration is you see how someone moves a crowd and you see how their animation ignites a crowd, and you see how the dissonance is. Sometimes they'll rap hella fast, sometimes they'll rap hella slow, other times they'll actually not rap and just make eye contact. And I would see those root things, and I would be inspired by that. And how do I do that? How do I animate? How do I dissonance? as opposed to being, influenced where I'm literally trying to rap like them and dress like them and walk like them. That's where the difference is. And just thinking like, okay, now I see the blueprint. Now, how do I add that to what I want to do? Because, I got this skater in me, like I got this reggae love of reggae music in me. So I'm like, okay, for example, those two things brought me, I'm going to skate on stage. I'm going to skate. I'm going to roll out on stage if I touch wood. I'm going to do some tricks while my DJ's setting up. Then it got into like, oh, what tricks can I do while I'm rapping where I'm not going to, that are pretty safe, but are cool.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, well, the reggae, I love the delay of the reggae with the, dub music. And so I was like, well, I want a mic with delay. And so I would just get a second mic and just have it with delay. So I didn't have a hype man, which was great. I could just be my own main guy and bring in my delay, just be like that.
Oh,
I always had two mics. And it was unique to me, so I could really just take the ideas of the charisma and the engagement and the diversity of styling and apply it to how I wanted to do it with my hip hop, with reggae, skateboarding, graffiti, and stuff like that. And so just being around and having access to so many stages very early on, like just shows and like just nonstop shows. So it really gave you a chance to really figure out your voice. And that was one thing George was really good at talking about with me, was like, you should rap how you talk. That was like one of the first things he said, like, cause when I first started, it was like Souls of Mischief was hot. Far Side was hot. Question Mark Asylum was hot. So it was like, I flip and I fly. You start, it was like, trying to find my voice in Severe. And I was trying to get deep, like you try to try on people's voices because your voice, you don't feel your own voice, but same thing. When you find your show voice, to where the voice where you can invoke passion and tone and still be able to breathe enough to get through your lyrics. Right. And also learning which songs you can actually spit live, because there's songs that you write and record, you think that's going to be dope live, and you get there and you realize as you're spitting, like, I'm not going to be able to finish this sentence. You start feeling like I'm either going to be animated and not finish the sentences, or I'm just going to be stuck and I will finish them, but I'm not going to be able to do anything but stare at the ground trying to get through these things. And so it really influenced the way I wrote songs, because I had a direct memory of like breath control during shows. Like if I want to be able to move and jump, there's no way I can just be, because I don't have the wind like that. Some people are built for that. I don't have the wind to be visually animated, physically animated, and spit rapid fire. It's just not something I can do. So
yeah, man, that's always a rough time when you're on stage by yourself and you don't have that backup. You don't have people doing your ad libs and whatnot, man.
Yeah.
You gotta take it to the face the whole time. It's tough. It's tough to breathe. It's tough to just have that energy. It's tough to be able to interact with the crowd the way you want to, because you're trying to hit every line and still be perfect, but at the same time, you still want to give them that. You still want to give them that energy and show them that passion. Yeah, it's a rough thing. I came to a show that you and Georgia did. I kind of get mixed up a little bit, because I don't know if one show I did, I actually performed at, and then there was one that you guys actually performed at, and you guys, your improv of freestyling was amazing. How you guys were able to play off each other, and I'm like, to see one person do it is different, but you see two people that are interacting, that are on stage and are playing off each other, freestyling, and basically they just up in the ante. That shit was amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Some fun stuff. And like the cool thing is, like, when we I took George out on a couple tours with us. So like after just being around each other, like we were always around each other anyways, but like being around each other on stage, and just kind of leaving room for us to geek out. It just became like that, to where we do, it's funny. We started doing what I ended up bringing to Dell's show, what I call 4-bar E-stars, where like we just go 4 bars back and forth. And then once you start doing that, then you can go 2 bars back and forth. Then you go 1 bar, and then you can just get loose where, if your boy's flowing, you just let him rock, and then you just jump in over him. And it looks aggressive, but you guys are playing that. So when someone jumps in aggressive, the other person pulls back, but the other person could jump right back and take it back, but you make sure you're not doing it over each other to where you both are trying to rap. And me and George would get into that where it would look like we're almost battling.
Yeah,
that's like this really like
That was all part of the show though, which is what I dug so much about it, because it just provided so much. It was so organic. It wasn't like some insert bar here. It was like everything was natural. You guys were playing off each other. Like you said, one to jump in front of the other and do something, and then the other one to scoot the other one out the way and then get to rocking. And it was like, man, that was amazing to me to see that as an MC. And that made me feel like it was like, dude, I had so much farther to go than I thought I was at after I said, no, I'm not there. I'm not there yet.
Those good moments when you feel like you're doing something and you watch somebody show, you're like, ooh. Like one of those moments early for me was like, other than like AC and Ab and them, like, you know, at the Maritime Hall in San Francisco, we go to a lot of shows there, and we got opened up on a cool amount of them, but we knew the promoter, so we could get in for free if we got there early enough. And it was a Fuji show. And like, if you never got to see the Fugees live, it was like their show was dope. The dynamics were dope. Wyclef would always have change ups in the set. Like the song would never go the whole way with the same beat that you heard on the radio. He would change it up to some dance hall or some Wu-Tang, like, you know. And then they brought John Forte one time, and I was just mesmerized with John Forte. Like his visual cadence, like just the way he walked out. Just literally the way he walked out and grabbed the mic and got ready. Like it just, you know, and it was like what he was wearing, you know, his whole vibe. And I was just like, damn, like, ooh, like how do I just get fools juiced just by the way I walk out? Like how do I get them relaxed and juiced and respect me, but feel kin to me? Mm-hmm. All of that. Because I didn't ever want to be the rapper who intimidated folks to like me. I don't want to come out there so hard that like, ooh, you know, like I wanted to be that person they felt like the homie they kicked it with, you know, and then add, you know, but he got styles though. But he's funny too, but he's goofy, but he's serious. And like you try to give him that ride, and like just watching the Fuji show, the dynamics they had, and then watching John Forte and just how he, like the visual cadence alone was just like, you could have had no music and just watch John Forte. It was just like the very subtle confidence, like very just deep rooted confidence. Like he didn't have to like brag or boast. He didn't have to raise his voice. He didn't yell. Like it was just, yeah, you know. But like you're saying, moments like that, right? When you're like, I got this. You're like, ooh, there's a whole another level to this right here. It's not just I got a song that the beat hits and it's, you know, that's like the first step. Can I perform live where my music sounds powerful and not whack? Now, can I rap to that and have it sound like we're on the same page? And then once you get there, you think you got it, then you realize, oh yeah, but then there's visual cadence. There's the arrangement of your set. There's what you do in between your songs. And then not to mention whatever you're calling response, if you have those, or jokes or segues. But yeah, it was like so many layers to it. You're like, oh, yeah, this is okay. Yes, I got you.
Playing rhymes like graffiti. Y'all know it's me, or could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Y'all know it's me, or could you tell by the splats? Playing rhymes like graffiti. Y'all know it's me, or could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Y'all know it's me, or could you tell by the splats? Y'all know it's me, or could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Y'all know it's me, or could you tell by the splats?
I write sketches, draw lyrics. My burner in your book, you'll hear it. Flows, you'll see it. Look,
Audio, technicolor, visual, like no other. Let it go, flip mode, imperial. From words say to spray, we slay and resurrect. Urban decay, the black rose effect. We're snapping necks with our style so fly. We're flashing folks trying to catch our trains going by. Ultrafied, bona fide, cloth we cut from educated b-boys, b-girls, far from dum-dums. We slap hard like them drum sons, Rex. Most unprepared for the snares that spank, and tripped up by the kick drum that swings. When you've dug in the grave, you know the gems it brings. Funk straight coming, times now carpe diem. Those damn kids are using coliseums as museums.
Play it rockin' like graffiti. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats?
Line swing, the art of writing, knowing the difference between inspired and biting. I study the equation, mathematics of a piece, the symmetry, fluency, the lines of congruency. Allow the letters to speak to me. Characters are ancestors, shines of frequency. Clean fades and fill-ins are Rob Swift blends. Them bits and doodads are percussion adds. Beat composition, adding texture and grit. Accent, but not distract from the burn and spit. I can't quit, just a part of me. Graffiti analogies, metaphors, and similes. It all ties in from omega to creation. Everything I link, 6 degrees of separation. Rock back and forth, read it from front to back. Catch, wreck, loop, packs, the dot, extra Craig, Mac.
Play it rockin' like graffiti. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats?
That can't control, no shortcuts. Gotta put the time in, refining like MCs with the rhyme. And we make the lyrics sick when designing. I'm in state of error pause. Good luck finding the black flesh. It's like looking at a Bukue One piece, trying to find the paper sketch. I sketch in my noodle, and yes, I do doodle. Got the whole kit and caboodle to express what I've been through. I'm in the cut like Ginsu. Yes, I miss you. My quarantine is like my pilgrimage to Machu Picchu. Learning from the Incas about what ink does and paint can when the artist is synced in. My connect word is my network. I'm linked in. I'm dialed up to the land within. So when I'm back on the block after this Ragnarok, expect a new level of Bukue One.
Play it rockin' like graffiti. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats? Keep it real, son. Lord knows me, could you tell by the splats?
All right, so there was a time that you was doing some teaching. I don't know if you're still doing that, but you were doing teaching. How is that? Because I always think of it being weird when you're trying to teach somebody to rhyme,
Right.
because it's like you have people that have fundamental basics like of knowing how to rhyme, and then you can go, okay, well, we could just smooth out the rough edges.
Right.
But have somebody to come up and be like, hey, I want to do this, and then you got to walk them through it like a baby. Like, how does that shit work?
Well, it's funny. Like, I love teaching in the sense that when I learn something, I learn it from the perspective of how can I teach it? How can I simplify? So, graffiti, skateboarding, bowling, and rapping. And so with rapping, we did, we're doing after school programs. So we did them for a long time. And we did skateboarding, we did graffiti art, we did digital music production, and then we did what I call this for a continuation school, hustlenomics, because I wanted to get the high school kids to come into the class, so I called it that, but it was just the art of rap, or wordplay 101, the use of the alphabet to express, So anyways, but like what I would do is I broke it down into understanding how to count bars, right? Get the 4 count, 1, 2. Like once you get that, cool, and then being able to write in bars. Like George helped when I first wrote my lyrics were like 3 or 4 pages, and the producer would be like, "How many bars is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. Could you count it for me?" you know, and it would literally be like each verse was like 48 bars. He'd be like, yo, you got to cut some of that down. Because I was ripping rapping. So, but I just came up with really cool tools that would help us break down raps. And so one of them would be, it's hard to visually go ahead and draw it out, but like, so imagine if you have a square grid and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? That's 4 bars. You can call it a stanza or whatever, right? So what I would do is I go, okay, what I'm going to do is I would have them, I'm like, we're going to circle 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we're only going to rap on those. So each bar you have 2 words that you're going to use to rhyme. So we're going to make a list of the words first. Hog, dog, you know, whatever you do. And so they'd have to place it, and then I have them write their raps from that. So that way you consciously knew where you were rapping, which is totally different from us learning to rap. We're just rapping, we're flowing, right?
Right.
But like when you have fundamentals of, you can write a verse of like 16 bars, which would be 4 squares, with just the number patterns first, and then fill in the rhymes later. Then you have control over your pattern, and it's a different way of thinking because you're thinking of just your pattern first, and then you fill it in with the words versus like I'm just flipping and flowing. Sometimes I'm rhyming on the 4 and the 5, like, you know, coming on the dime in the place to be, see me in the place with the dope MCs, we, or you know, but it's just coming naturally. But when you have to consciously break it down, what it did is it would train people to actually be able to not only count bars, but know where the bar, you know, where the 1 and the 2 hit. Like it took them a while, but if you realize the 2 and the 4 are the snares.
Right.
You know, the 1 is the 1. So if you're like, if I'm like, okay, you're rhyming on the 2 and the 4, then you go coming in the place with the style and grace. Like you actually can, and all of a sudden it tightens people up. And when you had people rap where they're just focused on the number placement of the bars, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of a sudden it creates this restriction that gives you guidelines, that gives you direction, that you know where it's going. And then once you learn that and you can hit that, so I give them exercises to do that. And then once you do that and you get it down where you can do that, all of a sudden you take that off of your training wheels off and you can get loose, but you have controlled looseness. It's like you're teaching somebody how to play the bass or how to drum or how to DJ. Foundation first, play on beats.
Right.
Once you're on beat and you've mastered quantized on beat, then do your Jay Dilla stuff. But don't start thinking just because Jay Dilla does it, you could do it. Like Jay Dilla didn't start there.
Right.
You know, so
exactly.
You know, so we do stuff like that. Just challenge people like, okay, today's show we're writing for is we're gonna perform for a bunch of preschool kids. So now write a rap that would be cool for preschool kids. You know, and then write one for a senior citizens place. And then write one for a country festival. I want to get us to where we get comfortable being writers as opposed to this is what I rap about.
Nah, and that's important because you're going to get a lot more longevity out of your skill set that way. If you understand how to write content.
Yeah.
When you can go into subject matter and tell people about yourself. I mean, that's one of the things that I feel like I have a good skill at is like, if some shit happened to me at work, I know I could write a rhyme about what happened.
Right.
You know, if I get my heart broke by such and such, then I can go into what happened and detail and make it rhyme. And if you don't learn how to write content and you do lyrical miracle, you know, you're doing all that shit all the time, eventually it's going to catch up with you. Because when you have to get into it and you have to expose yourself and you have to really give that,
right.
You're not gonna have the pipes to do it, and you're gonna get writer's block, and this shit's gonna come out sounding generic.
Yeah, your range is gonna be very limited. And what we'd also do too is whenever you cuss, 5 push-ups. So I wanted these cats to get off the crutch of cussing. So whenever you cuss, it was 5, and after 3 cusses, like 10 push-ups every time after that. So you're eventually gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna not do that. And once people stop doing that, they realize they don't have to do that, and then you can use it wisely. Like, it's supposed to be for emphasis, or like, some type of relevance to a scene. Like if you use cuz or use blood or something, like, you're dipping into someone a cultural slang of a gang, or a cultural slang of your cat in the grimy part of the hood. You want to hit them and say what's up. But if you're not talking to them on this song, why are you using their code?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that type of shit. Yeah.
Nah, man. It's like, you got to be able to put it together and have it make sense, because that's pretty much your ID card as far as your style is concerned.
Right.
If you're not able to do that, and to be able to kind of morph and to fit into different boxes and in the different scenarios, because you're not going to be able to go every show you're not going to go to is not going to be the 2 Live Crew show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to have shows where you're going to have to go, and it's a Christian benefit. It's for a church.
Right.
And you're going to have to go there, and you have to do clean raps.
Right. And how dumb would you feel if you're like, your mom or your auntie is like, yo, yeah, my son's raps. Oh, I'd love to hear his stuff. And you're like, nigga, like, yeah, I'm such an empath. I'm like, how uncomfortable would I feel if all my raps were like that, and my mom was trying to play it from my auntie, who's like, church going and all this, and like I'm just mofoing and milching and blah blah, like, God, it would just feel so uncomfortable for me. Like I'd feel real ashamed of my limited ability to,
It's hard, man. George be hitting me upside the head with that. You gotta stop using the N-word. I said, I know, man. I know.
All right. Yeah, man.
I try, and then it just kind of just sneaks up out of nowhere, and it's just
accident. Well, we have crutches. We have lyric. All of us, every rapper has lyrical crutches. It's just, what is it? A lot of cats will have the crutch of the N-word, or the mofo, or the topic of, I'm gonna take your head off, right? Some of us have the crutch of, I'm a spiritual, cadence and conscious and ripping and revolutionary. But if we always do that, we circle back to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have crutches. The goal is to where, when we're not in showtime or record mode, we try to expand our realm of crutches, so we have a big bowl of crutches, and not just like crutches that if someone's been around them for like 2 months, they can pretty much know, what our crutches are.
Oh yeah, and when it becomes to the point of predictability, then I think it's a problem, because we like, then it's a turnoff. It's like, oh, okay, I know what's coming. I know what's coming after this word. Like it's crazy. And
it's so gratuitous these days. I mean, not just, I say these days, but come on, it's always been so gratuitous.
I mean, but we on some get off my line shit. We always like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we at that age where it's just like, you see stuff and you be like, these kids, you fist waving at them, and it's just.
I'll be fist waving at adults now, though. That's you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna go into it right now, but like, I'm like fist waving at like the elders. Like, come on now. My thing is like this. Okay, one of the things about a rapper, a poet, to me, one of the greatest things about them is they can speak to the sign of the times of their people and their community and their culture. It doesn't have to be on the nose, right? It doesn't have to be. Not everybody's going to be Gil Scott-Heron. Not everybody's going to be frontline revolutionary rapping, right? But there are certain things, cultural norms and things that the sign of the times dictate, ooh, maybe we need more of this, or maybe that's just not really right now.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I hear rappers who completely, seeming in my mind, disregard that, I'm either thinking they, in their mind, have graduated to an echelon that's no longer in touch with their community they're rapping to. Like, they've been so far removed from that world that they're like not even in touch with it. And like, one of the things for me is like, rappers talking about how much money they got and like, and all the material, all the flossing. To me right now, it's like, it's not really
know your audience.
Yeah, like we people struggling right now. Like so talking about you just got excess, that's a lot. Talking about taking brothers and sisters out, there's never really been a perfect time for that. but there's been a time when like that in the mix of all the other topics rounds out the whole cinematic story of street life and just whatever you're inspired by. But
I mean, even in times where it's like guilty pleasure, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have guilty pleasures of people that I listen to. Be like, oh man, if some people knew I would listen to this, oh boy, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But you just get drawn, and sometimes you just need that moment where it's just like, okay, well, I need to go in my car. I need to drive as fast as I can. I need to have my music as loud as I can because I'm pissed off and I need to listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time and place for all of it. I mean, like look at like movies. Like I'm not the hardest. I don't come off extra hard, but I like Tarantino movies. I watch a lot of forensic shows. Like I love forensic shows. I like explosions and blow ups and guns and mob documentaries. Like there's room for all of that. I'm not only watching Alex Haley Roots and Hidden Colors by Nassim Taleb the whole time, but it's like there's room for all of it.
Yeah.
But when we get stuck and this becomes all, then that's when it becomes gratuitous.
Well, see, that's been my whole thing about rap in general, and that's what I was going to get into in my next question. It's hard because the rappers that we grew up with had levels to what they did. Right. Like they could tell you of course they can gang bang, they can party, they can do drugs and sell drugs.
Right.
They also could tell you about what was going on in a community and tell you something. I mean,
right.
Pac probably is the perfect example of that.
Right.
It's just they had an opportunity when they had a chance to give something back that was edifying. They was able to do that.
Right.
And find songs to do that. I just don't see much of that now. Kind of sort of with the spiritual the kind of the social awakening that some of these cats is having.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out if they're doing this because it's hot for the moment, or are they doing this because they felt a genuine need for that? What is your feel on the political awakening, and if it's legitimate?
Well, if people are taking, or artists or rappers, if they're taking time away from writing about Molly and Glack and all that to rap about something social, I don't care if it's contrived or not. They're projecting that imagery into the world through their audience, which means someone's hearing this social commentary. And they may not take it, they may just be doing it as a monetary ploy, but someone in their fan base may be like taking it like, this has really motivated me to change my life.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like if you're only rapping about Molly and gun toting and popping, chances are a small percentage of your fan base is believing that as the holy grail. And you're probably one of the main reasons they're starting to get more into doing that.
Yeah.
So if they're not doing that and they're talking about this, I don't care if they're doing it because they think it's going to sell or not. It's just planting a different seed that's going to grow some different trees that will be more beneficial. And then maybe through some of the testimonials of the people they're impacting, maybe some of the community events they were invited to, maybe some of the stories they're hearing will help adjust their range of what they talk about and why they talk about it, because they see the impact and the potential of the platform that we have.
Yeah, man. I mean, we already know it's a brave new world out right now, man, and people are having to change a lot of the way that they're doing things and a lot of way that they're connecting with their audience, because you don't have the live shows to be able to do that. That's the bread and butter was building that connection there, and they're finding more ways. And I think maybe doing things that have social activity, social awareness activities are ways to be able to reach not only another demographic of their audience, but also just to be able to reach another part of their own audience.
Yeah. And I think just between the inflammation of the racial injustice stuff combined with COVID is really forcing people to just really look some things in the eye that, before this, we could really stay busy and preoccupy ourselves to really not really have to deal with too much of it unless it was like shoved in our face.
Right.
You could tour and party and talk about partying and kicking it with your homies and be at the bar and doing this and this and the third. Like you really had more time to just get to all of your activities and vices that kept you busy, that kept you away from having to really deal with the magnitude of some of the stuff that's been going on. COVID made you sit your ass down.
Mm-hmm.
And while you were sitting your ass down in your house, you saw firsthand all this going on, all the injustice flaring up, all the supremacy flaring up, all the brutality flaring up, and you was at home. You couldn't just be in your habits because you couldn't do half your habits.
Right.
So you just had to kind of soak that up a little bit. And I think it kind of it sunk in a little deeper than it had for a lot of us because we just didn't have our vices. We couldn't just put our head down and get back to work. We couldn't just be like, yo, I can't deal with all that. I'm trying to hustle right now. Like, no, you're not. You sitting.
Yep.
So,
no, that's a great point, man. So, now I know the High Road doc drop. I mean, not High Road, but the Souls of Mischief doc drop. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see that. I have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
Seeing that you were kind of living that as it was happening at that particular time. I was living it as it was happening because I used to go to school. I used to go to Skyline at the time. And
you went to Skyline? Oh, wow.
It went up. It went up at that time. I was a junior and I was a sophomore at Skyline, and I transferred to Vallejo High.
Right.
So I was only there for 1 year. But that
what year was that? 93?
That was 92, 93.
92, 93. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that year I was there before I transferred to Vallejo was just like, dude, you talk about rock stars. That shit was amazing.
I can only imagine, like on campus in high school with your record starting to hit. That's crazy. Yeah, I was a fan back then. I didn't know any of those dudes, so I rode the fan. I didn't really start, like I said, I didn't start linking and working with cats till '99.
Mm-hmm.
So I came around kind of after Third Eye Vision. Like by the time I linked with Souls and did some shows for them, it was after Third Eye Vision. It was around. So it was after Hyro went independent. They all started doing an independent thing.
Right.
I started managing Dell after, because they had the wave of like Full Circle. Then Dell released Both Sides of the Brain.
Right.
Then Deltron 3030 came out, and then Gorillaz came out and went platinum. So I came right after that to where Dell was exhausted. It was like, yo, I'm not doing anything anymore. Because he was burnt out. It was just boom, 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 boom. And so when I went on the road with him and his manager, I saw when the manager would get out of the car, Dell would be like, Blood, you see what I'm talking about? And noon. And then when Dell would get out of the car, the manager would be like, Blood, you see what I'm talking about? And I'd be like, and I'm an artist and a manager, so I'm like, yeah, I see both. Like, like Dell would be like, Blood, you're just working me to death. And then I'd be like, yeah, okay, I see that. But then the manager's like, yo, we have momentum as independent artists that most never get the chance to. You put out a record that went platinum and you're independent. Like, how do you not work that? And I'm sorry that it came after Deltron 3030 that became a critically acclaimed. It's after Both Sides of the Brain that became something that was bigger. And that was after Full Circle that we launched our label. But when it hits, you got to ride it. So I understood both of them. So I came after that. When I managed Dell, I started managing Dell in 2002. He didn't put out an album until 2007.
See, man, the thing is when cats are really, really gifted, the really, really gifted ones have this introvert type of dealings
right
with that. And I just, it must be to have a spotlight on you like that so massive. I think you have to be a special person to deal with that 24/7 wherever you go.
Yeah,
and your shit is like the hottest thing going, and everybody knows your face and everybody knows your name. I couldn't imagine dealing with it. Yeah,
I mean, that either fuels people or it just burns them out, right? Like, Dell's definitely much more of a homebody. He'd rather be at home making music, learning some new gadget, playing with tech. He'd rather be that dude than be the dude on the the face everybody recognizes and on the street and everybody saying what's up and being on the road all the time. Like, he really wasn't that person. Some other fools in the crew really do like that. Like, they like being that spokesperson and being that, like, let people see the fruits of our labor. let me put the flag of the Bay on the map now. Like let me wear it is. Let me accept all challengers.
Yeah.
Because we are doper than and I'm gonna be here to let you know it.
Yeah.
So and it's all different personality types, but definitely Dell of them was the one who's like, yeah, I'm cool. Like I would rather not. If I, he said one time to me, like, if I would have known how much travel this would have entailed, I probably wouldn't have done it. And I was like, damn, because I really love the travel.
That's amazing.
I love it. I love the traveling and being in different spots, and and he was just like, oh, it wasn't his favorite. He'd rather be home.
Yeah, he can. I mean, we can switch spots. I just would like to switch spots just for probably maybe a couple months, because I wanted to do some of that. I want to do some of that traveling, dude. I was like, man,
Yeah, I mean, it's
I haven't seen things, dude. I'm be 45 in a couple months. Like I haven't seen shit.
Never too late, man. I'm just because there's hip hop bucket list things that I got little rites of passage or bucket list things. Like I remember one of them was doing a show and someone saying they heard you before. And before you got there, they knew who you were. That was a big thing, right? Next thing is you're doing your show and someone's mouthing your lyrics and you can see them while you're doing it. And you're like, oh, they know my shit, right?
Yeah.
Another one is you hear your song on some form of radio where you didn't play it or you're not being interviewed by them. They just happen to play your stuff. And either you heard it or somebody heard it. That's kind of cool. And then vinyl, you have your music on vinyl. That's a thing. And these are all, toured, doing shows out of your local city, state, or whatever. So to me, these are all parts of the hip hop scavenger hunt. And of course, the landscape has completely changed in the last 10 years. It completely changed, but in the last 8 months, it really changed. It was already really, really, really different.
Yeah.
Before this, because I was, I still link, build with cats like Elvis Sensei of Artifacts and Sadat X and Ed OG, and these cats are on the grind, independent grind, doing tours in Europe where they're catching their own trains and it's different, and they've accepted that, and they talk about how a lot of their cats a lot of their contemporaries never accepted that. They didn't get back in the trenches. They never had. So I'm trying to use my brain and what I've experienced and how to translate into ways to be of service to them with at least insights or concepts. But even from when I stopped managing Dell in 2013. So even from 15 to 19, it's already different. Similar, but it's different. And then COVID hit and it's very different and uncertain. So I believe you will be able to do some shows outside of your area code more. Don't know when. It might be in your Cool G Rap 50s. Masta Ace 50.
Hey, and I said to myself, I said, man, I'll stop when if I start rapping you get some of the what I call the legends flow, where it's not any representation of their younger self. It's over. I'm done.
Right.
I'm done. When you get the
oh, who are you talking about?
Oh man, I can't do it. Don't do it. I've already said it. I think I said it on our What the Podcast. And
give me an example.
Oh, dude. Okay.
One person. They ain't listening right now.
Hey, Cube.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, bro. Go back and listen to them. Listen to him. Listen to the earlier. I know that people are gonna evolve, but I don't really understand the de-evolution of cats.
Yeah.
I guess you get that much money. It's I don't care. I'm just doing this because I can.
I don't think I think what it because for example, rapping to me is a radio sportscaster. It's your voice, it's your mind. Unless it's all deteriorating, which it shouldn't be in its 50s. We should be able to still articulate and think something through and formulate some stuff. I think what changes is desire and focus. Because some rappers in their 50s, 52s decided to come back, and they coming back. Whoa.
Oh, like and they hungry, and these other cats are not. They just like, oh man, I got my, they got other facets of the game that they don't lock down. So it's just like
mail it in. Yeah, they mail it in. Now, if somebody called Cube out where Cube felt threatened, he'd go spend that time and come back with that No Vaseline rap.
Right.
But it's just that's just not where he is. He's not thinking about that. He's thinking about Barbershop 4.
I think it's part of the caricature too, man. I mean, it's like, all right, well, if I simplify this and I make it so where the people that know my movies and that know all my shit,
right? Also, who you're marketing,
they feel like they part of the in crowd. They feel like they're part of the club. So
right,
maybe that's it.
But I'm sure it plays a role too. If you're like, I want to make music that's going to appeal to the mass, and my mass is now this. Yeah, you're not going to rap like No Vaseline. It wouldn't make any. Depends on what it depends on really what you're. I really wish I've always wished this. Like Lauryn Hill is a megastar, right? She's but she's a super MC, and I bet you there are 20 and 30, 40 tracks of just her spitting that never came out, and that maybe never will because her albums now need to have some singing, a lot more of her amazing, talented singing voice.
Right.
But like, imagine if she was just like, I'm just gonna put out a mixtape of just me spitting, just for fun. Like how ill that would be.
Man, Sister Act is what really kind of put the nail in the coffin for that, bro. Like that was it. As soon as that happened, and when they heard that angelic voice, that power, they was like, oh, okay, she got to do this.
It's a rap.
Yeah, because she raps circles around these cats, man.
Oh, dude,
she raps circles around it, and she'll rap circles around the new school.
It's amazing that she's rarely ever put on anybody's top 10 list of best rappers of all time.
Oh, she absolutely should be there
because she's like,
I don't understand. I don't understand the missing the her not being regarded as an MC.
Yeah,
it's always they tie in the R&B shit.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be tied in. She can rap, dude. She rapped on the Fuji. She was blowing them cats off.
Every feature she's been on. Like one of my favorites is the Allies, Poor Righteous Teachers featuring the Fugees on Poor Righteous Teachers' New World Order album, and kills it. I mean, I'm a huge, like, you asked George, like, Poor Righteous Teachers is one of my favorite groups of all time. Like Wise Intelligence is one of my favorite rappers. And like she is just ridiculous, and she's always been that. But as good as she is that, she's a phenom vocalist. Like I think that's why is that outshined everything, and that's gonna always garner more sales in a broader audience, than her spitting. That's why it would be so fun. And she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna get in that. Me, when I was hanging out, me and Premier just made a bunch of stuff, and I was just rapping for fun. And I ain't really gonna put it out. I'm just gonna make it like a little mixtape, and just be like her just rapping over her favorite hip hop instrumentals just for fun.
That'd be disgusting.
Yeah, that'd be
disgusting.
That would be So
All right, man. So we're gonna wind this down. I'm gonna get you into the game that we play. It's called 4-Track Mind. So I just asked you a series of questions. You can answer them. If you want to give a detailed answer, you can. If not, it's cool. So for track 1, you got a choice for a feature. It's the last rhyme that you'll ever do. Dale or Casual?
For a feature?
Yeah.
Dale.
It's 93. You have to take a young lady out for a good time. San Francisco or Berkeley?
I'm a Berkeley boy. I'm taking it to Berkeley. We're going to Zachary's Deep Dish.
Yes, sir. I'd have hit Fat Slice, man.
See, yeah. It depends on what kind of date it is. Is it like a homie kind of date? Or like a date?
Take it to Leopold's.
Okay, like a little hip hop date.
Buy a couple joints there, and then go hit Fat Slice and go eat, and just go walk around and just see cats drumming on the buckets and shit. Yeah,
right.
I'm all for that.
So you're gonna be on Telegraph. You go to Fat Slice, Leopold. You go buy her some beaties, and then walk to UC campus. And I hear you.
Yeah, that's the business.
I can't front. That's probably what I would have did too, because I didn't have a car. It's not as easy to get to Zachary's Deep Dish. I'd have been on Telegraph, catch the 51. Would have been right there. True. I'd have shared my bus pass with her.
Man, my boy Phil had a yellow cream Nova, and we used to pack like 8 deep in there, dude, and roll out to Berkeley all the time.
Oh, dude, you could spend all day in Berkeley, all day on Telegraph.
Yeah, that was good business.
Yep.
So for track 3, DJing or graffiti?
Graffiti.
No, hands down, of course.
Oh yeah. It's I'm not. I'm a DJ by selection. I'm not a DJ by turntablism skill.
Okay.
That's a craft that I've been around, but yeah, I'm a DJ by selection.
Yeah. So you got serviceable mid-range game.
I know my limitations.
You're not out here like Steph with the.
I'm Andre Iguodala. I'm Andre Iguodala. That's what I'd be.
All right, man. So you had a choice to turn up. You had a choice to turn up a crowd on one of your tours. Would you go with the dopest song that you ever wrote, or a freestyle?
I'm probably gonna go with the freestyle because I can tailor it to the crowd, and I'm comfortable enough with my ability to freestyle to where I'm not worried about me just falling so flat on my face that it's humiliating. Because when you talk about your dopest song, my dopest song at a Santa Cruz show may not be the dopest song at the show in Philly.
That's a great point.
It's very different depending on where you are, what songs go off. Like I have Cheese and Butter, which is like my universal song. And then I have like my reggae hip hop tracks, right? And then I have like graffiti tracks. When I get in the East Coast, especially like Philly, New York, and stuff like that, there's much more islanders there.
Right.
So if I hit them with like a reggae hip hop track or like a hip hop track with some reggae samples, I'm getting them. Because I guarantee nobody on that bill that I'm touring with is anywhere even in that lane.
Nah, know your audience. Know your audience.
Yeah, and also as a graffiti writer, I think this way too. A graffiti writer thinks about the terrain that he's in and what he can do or she can do to contrast what's already there. So if I'm at a graffiti yard, everyone's doing really wild style, crazy stuff, I'm going to do the cleanest, simple stuff because that's going to stand out. So if I'm on tour with a bunch of super lyrical miracles, like just lyrical assassins, I'm coming like Greg Nice, like damn near, like because I'm not gonna get caught in this collage of just lyricism that's already blown everybody away. I'm gonna contrast that. People are gonna remember me versus the 5 people who are just lyrical assassins. And so I always knew that there were a couple things that I had that I pretty much was sure nobody on the bill that I was on would ever have. They wouldn't even go there. It's not them. And the reggae hip hop tracks were that. But like depending on where I was, if I'm at a hip hop like a hip hop b-boy jam, my graffiti tracks are gonna go harder than the reggae track because there's a bunch of riders in the crowd.
Right.
Skateboard songs. So freestyling allows you to tailor make that, right? Like if you're freestyling, you don't have to be like, ooh, cheese and butter's my shit, but I don't know what's gonna go over here. So
I'm gonna do something that I ain't never did on 4-bar. I'm gonna go back on one of my questions, and I'm gonna change it. Skateboarding or graffiti?
At the age of 44 right now, graffiti. Trust me.
Put it back to when your love was at its highest. Skateboarding or graffiti?
Graphboarding. Skatefeety. Okay, so like I would say about 93, 94 was probably the apex of both of them. And it was really, luckily I didn't have to choose because they don't overlap. Like they don't conflict.
Right.
It's hard to say because skateboarding was my world until graffiti came in and then my world divided.
That's exactly why I asked you that question.
Yeah, it really
I phrased it wrong by putting the DJ in, and that was stupid. I should. See, so you still didn't cop, but you still didn't cop, so I still won.
I mean, yeah. You know, and one thing about me is that like, luckily I never quit doing something that I once loved that much. So I've always kept doing all of these things. But once I really get into something new, I really devote most of my mind magma to it because it needs to catch up to get to the level of these other things.
Yep.
So like that's why people see me now. They see me DJing more because COVID. I DJ on Instagram, or now they see me doing hella t-shirt printing. Like I need to get my 10,000 hours in. I need to get to where I cannot do it for a month or two and come back to it and know I got it. Like, and that's where I am with production and rapping and skating. Like
that is such a slept on rule. The 10,000 hour rule is so slept on.
Yeah,
and people can make themselves so efficient at things if you put in that time and you just stick with it, regardless of how bad you are. If you do anything repetitive over the course of time, you will improve.
Yeah, just gotta nerd out, like just deep dive. Like my thing is, I hate being weak at something I love, but I'm not gonna skip steps and pretend like I'm better at it than I am. I'm just gonna nerd out and just suck up all that low self-esteem, disappointing. When it don't what it is when your rhyme don't come out right. When you're trying to write a rap, you just can't. It just no matter what you write, it just don't feel right. It just don't sound right. Or that beat, like you're trying to make a beat and it just can't that day.
Right.
And like I have those days still. Madden. Some days I'm killing it. Other days I'm like, I can't even. There's nothing I can do that's gonna get me this win. And then now my new one is printing. Like some days I call them low self-esteem printing days. When you try to print that shirt and it just don't come out, and no shirt you print that day comes out, and you just feel bummed. Like, man, this is hard. Like I can't do this.
There is nothing worse in the world when you doing t-shirt printing, because I did t-shirt printing too.
Yeah,
you do the whole WAP for a client, and that shit is wrong, bro. It's such heartbreak. Like that's cool, but this was supposed to be on the front. What?
See, that's why I can't even mess with you guys like that. I'm literally doing one-offs, and it's kind of more of a mix of art and printing because they're one-offs, they're hand printed. Imperfection is a part of the game. If I had to do 100 exact, like to where the shit lined up perfectly each time, oh god, MC should know the limitations. Like I know, like I'm gonna go hire that dude who does that. And I'm gonna let him do that.
Good Dale callback.
Yeah, I want to do that.
All right, man. So for the bonus track before we get up out of here, one pick to listen to. If it was just like, all right, I have to listen to hip hop forever, it has to be this. You going with 80s underground or 90s underground?
90s underground.
That's fair.
Yeah. For me, 90s underground.
Yeah. I think there's a lot more variety in the 90s, man.
Yeah.
80s, a lot of 80s shit sounded like the same.
Yeah. It's yeah. If I have to be stuck with hip hop, yeah. If I had options between hip hop and like freestyle and electro, it's tough. Stevie B, Lisa and Cold Jam, Stacey Q, Expose, Cover Girls, like that's kind of like really like I tell people this, my three trinity is like hip hop, reggae music, and freestyle. Like those are my trinity of music that I like my most favorite. Like I know more lyrics to like Expose songs than probably I know a lot of hip hop songs.
Dude, you know what though? To be honest, man, I probably could walk away from hip hop for like 70s soul. I probably walk away from that. And it wouldn't even. I probably wouldn't even turn around. I just walk straight away.
Oh, you'd miss the way the kicks hit after a while. You'd be like, "Can we turn the bass up?"
Like, yo, what do you mean you pan the hi-hat? What?
Yeah, no, you just wouldn't hit as hard. That's all three of my musics. They have to have the bass hits. Like the bass is a prominent part of all three of those musics. But
bro, Stevie Wonder, he got shit going on in every quadrant of the sound spectrum. There was a noise going on somewhere. There was a trash can getting beat on.
If you could see a picture of their mixing board grid of like the panorama of the way they mix the music, then it's crazy.
Wild.
Yeah, I don't know. It's beyond me. Yes. I'm glad they did it. I'll sample it.
Yes, absolutely. Hey man, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I really want to thank you for your time, man, for coming through. I know we were supposed to cut away for some music, but what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just book in them. We're gonna get out of here with Art Therapy, the dope ass track from Bukue One. So thank everybody for joining us at 4 BarLoop. Difficult roads often lead to the most beautiful destinations. Shoot your shot, go for the win. You might make it. Peace, my friend.
Peace.
Dash boy. Appreciate it. That's Kamau. Yeah.
The beat's the blank canvas. It's time to free up. Art therapy transition. The mission is to get up, let go of what's bad, recycle all that was into what will be. Future focus F&B. Gotta stay on point. Derailing is not an option. The wheels are in motion. What's done is what's done. Give thanks and praise. Honor the trailblaze. Memories replace. Some of those were the days. Pause for a moment, then it's trucks to the curb. Perseverance is the word. Say it repetitiously. Infrared beam time. Molding all this Play-Doh. Sculpting my design. It's alchemy time. Find me if you need to. Finally we free to do it how we do it. No second guessing, no redo. Revved up the engine. I feel like James Harden. 6 man, the team captain. No bench now. We starting. Responsibility, yeah. As a little weight, Yoda, I forward the fight. We got what it takes. Now in the place to be. Our success is our likeness. Kamau and Bukue One. Not many out there like us.
Art therapy. Arte terapia. Ou vice-versa. É o seguinte. Então, coloco pra funcionar, sem essa de estacionar. Beat é feito pra acionar, cérebro raciocinar. Agradeço a cada um que se dispôs a me ensinar. Quem de certa forma deu apoio sem patrocinar. Hora de retribuir quanto eu tenho pra trocar. Nem sempre distribuir naquela recíproca. Meu respeito é pra quem tem sempre sem desmerecer. Nunca no interesse de quem tem o que me oferecer. Pra fazer valer no rolê ou pra esparecer. Como tem que ser, sem auê nem pra parecer. Sigo nesse ritmo, um back legítimo. Rap mesmo nítido, tá no mesmo pitch do pensamento. Tento tratamento pro momento. Nesse batimento dentro da caixa de sentimento. Discernimento pra manter o que tem que tá. O que não faz bem que vá, ligeiro pra me esquivar. Pronto pra ponderar o que deve preponderar. O que tem que ser será, nada mais esconderá. Deixa eu respirar e se inspirar, é sem pressão. R&D conexão, fazendo arte na sessão de terapia.
See it in my DNA. Artistic when I'm twisted off the E&J. In many lands, many fans wanna see him play. With the stage I go together like B&J. No lemonade. You scared but you been afraid. I keep it hot like 500 centigrade. I'm like Picasso when I pen the gospel. Spread the word to the people like I'm Pentecostal. When I throw this 16 at you, you realize you looking at the Sistine Chapel. Elaborate and eccentricate when I accentuate. Get you lit, yeah, this is that essential shit. Call it art therapy, call it smart heresy. First Nation, yeah, call it part Cherokee. Earth Station, yeah, this is just a pit stop. And I won't be coming back until this shit stop.